to bring his ass to this ring. Give me a hell yeah.
And we're back inside of your computer once again for another episode of SCI Wrestling. I'm WB Ward.
And I'm Chip Douglas.
Giving you all the news that is news around the world, around the corner, and up your alley in regards to professional wrestling.
Absolutely. The only sport that matters.
The only sport what do you mean the only sport? There are others?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
I saw some children kicking around a round ball, and they called it some kind of a big contest in Brazil.
Oh. Yeah. I remember that one. I can't remember the name of the...
You know, I can't wrap my mind around that sport. They call it football.
Yeah.
But I just... Sorry.
I got into it this year.
Yeah.
In the World Cup. I did get into it. But I've actually tried to get into it like now, like, you know, the England leagues and stuff like that. I can't. It's not the same.
And, you know, one sport here in America that I'm surprised is not as popular as it should be is rugby. I would think rugby would go over big here, but evidently...
Just because of football.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of an extreme rules version of football.
Right.
I mean, everybody gets their butt kicked there, and if you dare show up wearing pads, they laugh at you.
Exactly.
Just like the way football used to be here.
Yeah.
But I digress. 1 week in professional wrestling. It's been definitely an interesting week. I got some movers and some shakers, and I understand we might even have some news later on. And
absolutely.
Got some. Got a brand new pay-per-view coming up here, and I failed to look up the dates for that. Do you happen to know what they are?
I do not.
Arg.
See, we just had Battleground this past
so
Sunday.
It's a few weeks away.
So it's gonna be quite a few weeks away, but it's a summer spectacular known as SummerSlam.
Yeah, I know it'll be in Los Angeles.
It'll be in Los Angeles, California.
Los Angeles, the city of the angels.
Should be good. I mean, we've already know the main event, which honestly we've known the main event even before SummerSlam. But we'll get into that a little bit later.
I used to live in Los Angeles.
Did you?
I lived in a suburb called Bellflower.
Bellflower. I've never even heard of that
Yeah,
suburb.
it's just outside of, I was real young at the time I lived there. There was, well, to give you an idea how long ago that was, there was no such thing as color TV yet. So that dates me.
Boy, that really dates you.
Man, no color TV, no cable, no satellite, and we got along just fine.
That's true.
3 TV stations, and I was the remote control.
And no cell phones.
Oh, that's right.
See, that's the kicker, man, right there. No cell phones.
Kids today don't know how to live.
I mean, what?
I mean, they don't. I mean, you can't go anywhere without, seeing somebody texting on their cell phone, talking on their cell phone. I would love to see them cell phone deprived for one day. They would go nuts.
Now, when I was younger, and folks, we don't really have a program to this show. We have an idea, but this is a rabbit trail is what this is. But I remember being younger because I didn't have cell phones when I was younger. And so I used to have like a box of wrestling figures, and I had probably more wrestling figures than everyone else I could think of.
Figures.
And they're action figures, by the way.
Yes. Not dolls.
Not dolls. They're action figures. And I had like weekly shows, and I still have notebooks that I would have everything written down, and I would have storylines developed. And everything. It was bad.
Man.
And then I had to leave for college, and Mom made me put them away.
I had a chemistry lab and blew up the garage.
See, I was a little bit less destructive.
I was very destructive. I was scholastic, but destructive. And nobody ever saw the family cat again. But you were in there playing with your doll. Action figures.
Action figures.
Okay. Well,
my mom actually still has them, believe it or not.
Does she play with them?
No. I'm hoping to pass those down to those generation.
You're in your 30s now, right?
I'm 30.
30? Okay.
Yeah.
And you were how old then?
I started playing about 5.
Well, there could be some collectibles in there.
There is.
Okay.
Is.
Figured so much.
Yeah, because those figures are from 1983, 1984.
Oh, okay. So, that'd be the good era.
Absolutely.
The good era. Okay, you ready to get things under rolling here?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let's go ahead.
What time is it, kids?
Oh, this is a good one, by the way.
Oh, looking forward to it.
And this is actually the first time this individual has appeared on the Tweet of the Week.
Who would that be?
John Cena.
A person calling themselves John Cena.
No.
Really?
John Cena.
This is John Cena enough.
Yes.
Cena.
Yes.
Cena
This is going to be
enough.
good.
Yeah.
This
John
is
Cena.
going to be good. This is
Okay.
going to lead to a conversation upon itself.
Uh-huh.
He goes, okay, interweb, have fun with this one. Hashtag, life would be better if I turned heel. Twitter feed crash in 3, 2. And that's how he left it.
Oh.
From John Cena.
Oh. The audience isn't even applauding, not because they don't approve, it's just because nobody knows how to react. But go ahead, guys, anyway.
I think that's because we all agree that he should be heel.
Well, have you noticed his facial expressions as of late have been more somber than usual? So I'm not so convinced that we may not be far away from that. But please tell me that doesn't mean Lesnar's going to turn face.
No. I mean, if Cena's
so that means
turn,
Cena cannot turn heel before SummerSlam. Then.
No. I think this would be if there is something that's down the line. I think we're looking at Rumble leading up to something at WrestleMania, possibly.
Or possibly during SummerSlam, we see some evolution of him possibly turning heel.
Yeah.
But I have noticed his photographs as of late, and also his demeanor on camera has been darker than usual.
And facing Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, if he has that type of bout where it's maybe more brutal than John Cena normally does, then that would be a sign that a change could come. But I thought that was a very interesting tweet. I mean, you can never look too much into it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I saw that and I was like, wow, that is pretty spectacular.
Well, before we get into this week's countdown of the SCI's top 10 PowerPoint rankings, let me go ahead and pay the piper for the week with our live weekly commercial here. I was telling you last week about Nelson Mazda and a guy over there by the name of John Bunting. And if you call John at 918-296-7800, he can fix you up with a good quality car. I'd be at a brand new Mazda or one of their great quality pre-owned vehicles. I found out Nelson Mazda evidently has, and I don't know if they actually intended for this to happen, but they do have a campaign that's designed to help end the drought here in Oklahoma.
I had no idea.
Yep. Well, it certainly seems to work out that way, because one thing that I really love about having been a customer at Nelson Mazda is the fact that since I have a car, I can for as long as I'm breathing and the car's running, all I have to do is drive up to Nelson Mazda. They're here in Tulsa, over there at 9902 South Memorial. And I just walk in and go, hey, can I have my weekly fix up here? And the lovely lady behind the desk will give me this certificate for a car wash. So I get a free car wash for life.
Wow.
On this. And every time I've gotten that car wash, it has rained within 24 to 48 hours. So, friends, if you're in the Tulsa area, make it on up to Nelson Mazda, 9902 South Memorial. Ask for John Bunting, or just give him a call at 918-296-7800. Buy your next car from John over at Nelson Mazda and help end the drought here in Oklahoma.
That's good.
I think that's a wonderful public service that they do.
I love it.
I'd like to know how they do that.
Are you ready for some news?
Sure. I think, by golly, we just may be ready for some news. Let me check over here with our news director, and we'll find out if the news director is able to get things rolling. Are you?
Oh, there we go. Breaking news.
Breaking news. I thought you just broke wind.
No, not yet. That was a little bit earlier.
Oh.
Apparently, someone broke into Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella's house.
Really?
Did you hear about this?
No.
So, Brie Bella and Daniel Bryan were on their way back home to, I believe it was Tucson, Arizona. And when they walked into their house, guess who was in their house?
Who?
A burglar.
Oh! I think I did catch a little wind of that. What happened?
So they just got home and they walked into the door. And they saw a suspect start running through their house. So Daniel Bryan, knowing that he has a neck injury, but could still probably take any man with one arm.
Oh, yeah.
Subdued the guy and held him down until cops got there and then arrested the individual. Now, what I thought was great And it's the fact that he actually had a press conference about this, and I watched the press conference.
Yeah.
And Daniel Bryan made the comment. He goes, I'm a really laid back guy, and I don't get angry very much. But at that point, I was angry because that this is my house.
Sure.
But he goes, but the guy should be really lucky that I got a hold of him and not Brie Bella.
I was just getting ready to say that you guys lucky he didn't sick Brie on him. She would have tore him a whole new, what? Holy moly!
I saw that and I was like, man, why on earth? I mean, obviously the guy had no idea that was their house, or if he did,
he didn't know who he was.
Yeah, he's an absolute idiot. But some other news that come out of that news conference is the fact that he did have a second surgery on his elbow.
Yes.
So he's gonna still be on the shelf for a while. And so, and we found
any
out
indications that he's mending healthfully, or
it's slow. We found out through the press conference that he had surgery. It was a nerve compression between his C4 and C5 vertebrae.
Right.
And so they got that fixed, and then they found out the fact that he was still slipping disc a little bit, and the nerve was also affecting his arm. So so they had to go into his elbow.
The fact that they're finding things wrong and correcting them, I see that as being optimistic, because it tells me there is some mending going on. Now, whether or not he mends well enough to go back into the ring has yet to be seen.
Right.
And actually, he's going to be doing just fine, just as long as the doctor never comes into the room to say,
But I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
as long as he can avoid that.
That was a good lead, by the way.
As long as he can avoid that, he's going to be good. There's been a lot of shakeup and a lot of moving around on this week's countdown. Are you ready for that?
3, 2, 1.
This is the SCI Top 10 PowerPoints based on information from WWE.com and the Academy of Wrestling Arts and Sciences. Among other things, the rankings are based on victories, quality of opponents, momentum, and overall ring dominance. Beginning first with a glance at the top of the ladder as of July 20th, 2014.
Number 10.
I hear voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
The face may have fallen after dropping 4 positions from last week's countdown. Not only did Randy Orton fail to capture the World Heavyweight title at WWE Battleground, but he also missed out on a chance to get his rematch with John Cena at SummerSlam.
Number 9.
Despite the fact that Paige turned against her on Raw, AJ Lee continues to stay on the top 10 after successfully defending her Divas title against her former frenemy at Battleground.
Number 8.
The Wyatts lost both of their contests at WWE Battleground, causing the Creepy Clan to drop to number 8 on the rankings.
Number 7.
The Beast Incarnate is back, and he has made it known that he plans to conquer John Cena at SummerSlam and become the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
Number 6.
Making an impressive jump of 4 positions over last week's countdown, Jimmy and Jey Uso continue to soar up the top 10 with a successful tag team title defense at Battleground against Luke Harper and Eric Rowan.
Number 5.
Although falling a couple of rungs on this week's ladder, Sheamus remains solidly in the top 5. The Celtic Warrior didn't leave empty-handed after losing the Battleground Battle Royal, as he still lays claim to the United States Championship.
Number 4.
Dean Ambrose didn't let his controversial forfeit loss at WWE Battleground slow him down, continuing to stalk Seth Rollins' every move. After picking up a huge victory over Cesaro in a no disqualification match on SmackDown, the Lunatic Fringe moves into the top 5 of the countdown.
Number 3.
Sure, Seth Rollins picked up a victory over Dean Ambrose at Battleground in a controversial fashion, but as they say, it still winds up in the win column. Add in a victory over Fandango on WWE Main Event, and Mr. Money in the Bank finds himself at number 3 on the countdown.
Number 2.
Roman Reigns was unable to capture the World Heavyweight Championship at Battleground, but he pulled off impressive victories on Raw and SmackDown. Simply put, Roman Reigns deserves to be at or near the top of the chart. And now, with this week's climb to the top of the chart,
Number 1.
the champ is still here after a tortuous fatal four-way match at Battleground. John Cena must now defend his WWE World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam against the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. That's this week's SCI Top 10 PowerPoints. And that sets the stage for SummerSlam coming up in Los Angeles. I still can't believe I failed to get the dates for that.
Where Plan C will come into effect.
Plan C being, of course, Mr. Les.
Yes, Mr. Lesnar.
The Les.
Which I thought was really well done, by the way. I thought that was really how they had Paul Heyman come out, and then Brock Lesnar came out and had him shake hands with Triple H, knowing that was the plan. That's Plan C.
Well, you know, with Brock Lesnar appearing in this week's countdown, you realize what distinction that gives him on the countdown?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, he's the first wrestler to make it to the top 10 without one single ring appearance.
Yeah, but that's that's the presence of Brock Lesnar.
Yes.
I do agree that John Cena should be number one right now. I mean, he went to Battleground, took care of business.
Sure.
Came back victorious. Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins. I mean,
there's some toss-ups there.
There's some toss-ups.
Yeah.
The Usos. I mean, that was a very good move for them. But I don't want to give away too much because we need to review Battleground and Raw. So from Battleground, who won the predictions, by the way?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah, I do. All right. Yeah, you did.
Finally.
Yeah.
Finally.
No, you've won them before.
Oh well, but it's kind of like Chris or Zack Ryder. After 2 years, I finally won something.
Yeah, that would okay. I could see that comparison.
Yeah.
But don't forget, between the two of us, there's only one who made one complete prediction flawlessly.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course, that was a couple of pay-per-views ago.
And Mr. Wood made a correction where it says, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, that's true.
But Battleground, it was. I know you watched it. I watched it too. I have watched the main event later.
However, I did fall asleep.
Did you?
I watched it up and nonstop until like the second to the last match. And
okay.
Then I was knocked out for the rest of it. It as far as pay-per-views go, I really did not see that show as being pay-per-view quality.
I thought it started off. I mean, it started off kind of weak. Having Cameron and Naomi, I think that's her name, Naomi. Yeah, started out in the pre-show. I mean,
to me, it was nothing more than Monday Night Raw with a price tag.
Yeah, I think there were some highlight matches. Usos versus the Wyatt family. I thought that was the first fall was a little bit slow, but after that, I thought that was a phenomenal match, especially with those last two falls. I mean, you really didn't know, especially in that third fall, you really didn't know who was going to come out the victor in that match, because there were some really good close falls on it. So to me, that was really probably the match of the night.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that assessment. One thing that dawns on me with the 12 pay-per-views that they have, they need to do something like they do with WrestleMania, because see, the rest of the pay-per-views, they're okay, but there's nothing really that separates those pay-per-views from their regularly televised events. They are essentially they're in arenas just like they would be for Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. They run the continuity just like the continuity as they would do with Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. The only thing that they're missing are these 3 and 4 minute commercial breaks. Other than that, there's really not that much difference between them and what we see on Raw and SmackDown. So I think they should follow their own example that they do in WrestleMania. I can understand that financially it would not be conducive to rent out a huge stadium like they do for WrestleMania, but they need to have something to go with each pay-per-view that's indicative of that one pay-per-view. Like, for instance, WrestleMania has the Hall of Fame.
Right.
there needs to be some kind of event like that that ties in with the other pay-per-views to make them special. If they want to see the WWE Network continue to succeed.
You mean like gimmick?
A gimmick, or maybe a
Like
special.
Money in the Bank. There's going to be a Money in the Bank ladder match.
Okay, a Money in the Bank ladder match, maybe a gimmick match for it. Now, most of them will have some kind of gimmick match, but even that, most of those gimmick matches they will do from time to time on SmackDown and Raw. So I'm not sure that I have the answer, because quite frankly, I'm kind of high and dry when I'm trying to think of some kind of idea I could suggest. But some type of event that would be tied to each pay-per-view, like for instance the Hall of Fame ceremonies, which is tied in now in concrete with WrestleMania,
right,
of having some such event, maybe not an awards program of some kind, but some kind of an equally prestigious thing for the wrestlers themselves, to help distinguish the program content from the pay-per-views from the regularly televised programs. If they don't, I can see that coming back to bite them a little bit, with people going, why should I pay for a pay-per-view even for only $9.99 a month from WWE.com when I'm essentially just seeing the same thing on Monday nights and on Friday nights.
Right. Well, and what's really interesting is the fact that we got one thing that a lot of people don't realize is we only sign up for 6 months.
True.
That 6 months is coming to an end.
Oh.
So a lot of subscribers really have to realize, is this past 6 pay-per-views that or 5, whatever it is, has it been worth it? I mean, for me, it's been worth it.
I'm going to have to belly up my $9.99.
Huh?
I'm going to have to belly up my $9.99.
Really?
Well, might as well.
Right. I mean, for me, it's been worth it. The pay-per-views have been great, but with Battleground, I always thought that would be the perfect pay-per-view to have the War Games. The two cages with the 2 rings. I always thought that'd be an ideal pay-per-view for that, because the Battleground featuring the War Games match. Because it was a WCW take, from Fall Brawl. But I always thought that would be an ideal spot for that. But they never have grabbed that concept. I don't know why. I mean, of course, I'm not creative, so I can't tell you.
Well, now a lot of these things they're kind of having to learn to do as they go along, because you got to admit, a lot of times they are kind of making this stuff up as they go along, just because of the fact this is all untried territory, even for them. As much as I'm sure they would like to put on the idea that they know what they're doing, and they do, I'm not trying to take away from that, but this is an untried area, so it's not like you can really go out and plan some big strategy for it or anything, because nobody's ever done it before.
Right. So, were there any other matches that you grasped on Battleground that
I really didn't have anything that stood out on me like a cockroach on a white carpet, because, like I said, it was Monday Night Raw.
All right. What about Rusev and Swagger?
Well, now there are some exceptions. That was an exceptionally good match.
Right.
I love the way Rusev is coming out. Excuse me. I love the way that Rusev. I've got to have another cigarette.
What?
I love the way his heel character is being developed, and I love the idea that Swagger is being pushed a little bit, but they've kind of let off on him for some reason.
Right.
I wonder, he's not injured, is he?
Who?
It's Swagger.
No.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No.
I wonder if maybe Zeb is going through some health issues, because they both have been conspicuously absent since the pay-per-view.
Well, they have been doing house shows.
Have they?
Yeah, because in fact there was a house show, and I didn't even know this, in Oklahoma City last night. And they were at that house show.
Well, I do know that the house shows very often are used to try out new storylines.
Oh yeah, new storylines, even new wrestlers for that matter.
So that maybe they are trying to work up with a big face push on Swagger and Zeb. Now, if they do that, that's fine, but they have to continue with the idea that they had before. Have Swagger keep his mouth shut and let Zeb do all the talking, and they'll do wonderful.
Right. I really enjoyed the angle for the most part, and I think they're building Rusev to be that unstoppable heel that will eventually will run its course, I believe, and we'll see where it goes from there. But switching gears here, Ambrose, Seth Rollins, I've gotten mixed reactions from Twitter because I hated the fact that they did not do a match on Battleground. The fact that they had that little interrupt, Seth Rollins interview, and Ambrose attacked him, and then they kicked Ambrose out of the arena.
Yeah.
Therefore, forfeiting the match.
You know, they're going to have to bring this to a conclusion here pretty quick.
It's going to, I mean, SummerSlam they're going to face, but that's the only match they've had. So is it going to end at
Can they do
SummerSlam?
that without it becoming a cage match?
I don't know.
I don't see any other way around it.
No, I think they should. Why not?
You know, with the way they've had the storyline go up and they've been kicking him out of the building.
Or just have a false count anywhere type match.
Yeah, that would be okay. I think it would be
I think
much
the
more
cage would be
climatical
better.
with a cage.
Yeah, cage would be better.
Yeah, I think so. And I don't see, as far you're looking at it from a writer's standpoint, I really don't see any other logical conclusion to it. But one thing is definite. This needs to conclude because this cannot be continued forever. And already they've stretched this out beyond the point of believability for me. And I think if they continue to do that, it's just going to lose interest. So they need to bring it to a conclusion, end it on a big up note like with a cage match, and leave it with a good taste in people's mouths, and then let's move on.
Yeah, move on to the next one. Main event, we had John Cena versus Roman Reigns versus Kane versus Randy Orton. We already know where Cena's going to go, but where do we see these other guys going? What's next for Roman Reigns?
Well, now, they're going to continue pushing Roman.
Of course.
I mean, they'd be fools not to. I can see Roman taking some huge leaps between now and SummerSlam, possibly landing him some kind of a title match at SummerSlam. The question is, which title?
Do you really want to push him down, though?
Would that really be pushing him down?
I don't know. I think the only way that I would be okay with that is if Sheamus turned heel and he went for the U.S. title.
What if they set up Roman Reigns through a series of championship matches over the next few pay-per-views where Roman Reigns actually begins collecting belts?
Kind of like a Goldberg thing?
Yeah. He just starts collecting belt after belt after belt after belt until Roman Reigns has every single belt, including a tag team champion with not Seth.
Dean?
Dean Ambrose. I mean,
he would
have the United States Championship, in which your wish could come true with Sheamus turning heel. Then the next pay-per-view, he wins the Intercontinental. The pay-per-view after that, he wins a tag team. And then the pay-per-view after that, he's going for the gold.
My only issue with that is you're putting all your ducks in one basket.
You got to admit that's a hell of a basket.
I mean, it's a heck of a basket, but then it seems like to me you'd be pushing down other talent at the same time.
Yeah, you definitely would, but they do that anyway, so what the hell?
I just was spitfiring with the Sheamus thing, but I think that would actually work really well. If they had Sheamus maybe join the Authority, and Roman Reigns faces him for the U.S. title, you have that for 2 pay-per-views basically.
Sheamus with the Authority. That had not occurred to me.
Yeah, I mean, why not? They could have a SummerSlam match and then have the rematch at Night of Champions.
Isn't Fit Finlay still on the payroll?
Yes, he's an agent.
Yeah, he's working backstage.
Right.
I wonder if they would bring him out front as maybe an advisor of some capacity for the Authority, who talks to Sheamus in his own language.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, and just have Finlay up there for for eye candy.
Right.
I think that'd be a good idea.
So wrapping up the show here, just wanted to quickly just mention the fact that here very soon in the coming weeks, we'll have another guest on our show.
Oh.
I'm not going to say who at this time.
Oh.
But just
Male or
stay
female?
tuned. Male.
Oh.
Male.
Okay.
I'll work on the females, okay? I'll work on that.
You're married. I'll work on the females.
So it should be fun. And we'll see.
Besides, I'm the cute one.
You're the cute one?
Yes.
You're the age. I'm the beauty, son.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's it.
Oh, okay. Well, it's nice to know we have somebody who wants to be a guest.
That's true.
That's awesome to know. So be sure to join us next week here on A Computer Near You as you tune in once again to hear the raving antics and the continuing fallacies of 2 young men who put together a show and work so hard to do it. And it's called SCI.
You're old.
Yeah.